Welcome to the Butterfly Effect, and today is a double day. We had Liège-Bastogne-Liège already on the Butterfly Effect. Now it's time for stage 2 of the Giro. It would be a day for Diego Ulissi to win against Peter Sagan on a slight uphill finish that was going to put some hurt into all the legs. Let's go back about 20K and talk about what we're seeing on TV. As we're watching from the helicopter angle, you see Jumbo-Visma at the front working clearly for Steven Kruijswijk. You see Astana on the front for Jakob Fuglsang, and another line, Trek Segafredo for none other than Vincenzo Nibali, who's a two-time Giro winner, a Tour de France winner, and a Tour of Spain winner. And of course, Ineos is back in action at the Giro after disappointing Tour de France with their leader G. Thomas. And we'll talk about him at the end of this episode, because what I saw at the finish line has to be discussed. With 1.4K to go, you'll see Conti doing an amazing lead out for Diego Ulissi. Now, the reason why he has to go that hard that early is because Diego Ulissi is not that pure kind of speed like you see out of the top sprinters like we're used to watching with Mark Cavendish, and doesn't have that real snap. So he is fast, folks, but he likes that uphill drag. He wants to get rid of all of the pure speed. So with 1.4K to go, that's really where you see UAE Team Emirates with Conti drilling it 100%. Conti himself is very fast and does huge damage to the field at this moment. Also, I want you to notice as Peter Sagan is misplaced. He's a little too far back at this moment. He's misjudged the ability of what the UAE Team Emirates riders can do and how long that they can hold that effort. When you see his position, you can be sure that he was counting on that group coming back, but it really didn't. With 700 meters to go, Peter Sagan has realized the mistake he has made, and he has to jump and close that gap to Ulissi and Michael Honore from Deceuninck Quickstep. As he closes that gap with about between 500 and 400 meters, Diego Ulissi does an amazing attack and immediately gets a gap on the Deceuninck Quickstep rider. This is the impressive part. This is where his age, his skill, and his patience have really come into play. You'll see him pull the clutch lever in. He backs off the pedals a little bit. He allows the Deceuninck rider to come back on along with Peter Sagan. And then with 150 meters to go, he releases the clutch, does one more big acceleration, and celebrates the win. It was a great performance from a rider that's been around for a long time. I was teammates with him in 2014 with Lampre Meridia, and I can tell you he has very good experience. And when it comes to the sprinting, he understands his ability. He knows he's not going to beat the pure sprinters, but when the road goes uphill to the finish line, he is often the one crossing the line first. Especially when he's at the Giro. I believe this is number 7 of his stage wins at the Giro throughout his career. He is on a record there with Vincenzo Nibali as the only ones to reach that number who are currently racing at this year's Giro. Now, I talked about Diego Ulissi and how perfect his sprint was. I want you to look at this next picture that I'll post up, and it's G. Thomas coming across the line. Now, you'll see Michael Matthews, who's actually in front and coming across the line in, I believe, 4th spot, but he's absolutely maxed out, head down, exhausted, can barely hold the bike straight. You look at the other riders behind Michael Matthews, and they're all suffering too, with the exception of G. Thomas. He looks like he just coasted across the line. He clearly has reached good form, and I believe he's my favorite at this year's Giro d'Italia. Vincenzo Nibali looked pretty comfortable coming across the line, but there was almost no sweat on G. Thomas if you go back and look at that picture. So you know he's not hurting much when he comes across this line. He's come in good form, and if a picture ever once told 1,000 words, I think this is it. Take the time to look at it, enjoy it. G. Thomas is definitely here to be a player at the Giro d'Italia for 2020. Hope you enjoyed the double take on the butterfly effect, and I'll see you next time. Keep in mind, one of these weekends, we got the Giro, we got the Tour of Spain, and Paris-Roubaix all overlapping. I don't know if I could do a triple, but we'll see.